Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin, part 3. What do we think about this one? What are our thoughts on this one? How do we feel about this one, right? I haven't seen any reviews yet personally. I haven't heard anyone talk about it on purpose, not because the information isn't out there, but because I didn't want to jade my thoughts and my perspective and my viewpoint and my angle for this video. But this is a big fight. One can argue that it's a bigger fight now than it was before because now the storylines are different. Canelo Alvarez is coming off his first loss since his fight with Floyd Mayweather in 2013, right? That's a long time to go without losing. Canelo accomplished a lot in that time frame. There are a lot of people that dislike Canelo. I'm not one of those people. I respect the fact that he takes risks. I respect the fact that he's fighting for his legacy and fighting to be not only the best boxer of all time, right? He's fighting for that, but he's also boxing to quiet the people to say that he is the best Mexican fighter of all time, which is still up for grabs depending on whom you talk to, but it's still our opinions. But that's what he's fighting for. He's a great fighter, and you don't have to like him to respect him. Triple G is still around. His one loss comes from Canelo Alvarez. He's still dominant, still a big puncher, still confident, still pushing ahead, and you have to respect that too. Sure, in his last fight against Murata, it seemed like he missed a step, not as quick, a bit of a slow starter than he was before, and his punch resistance not as strong as we saw him being hurt to the body. But he's 40, and we shouldn't expect a 40-year-old fighter to act and to have the same mannerism and the same flow as if he was a 30-year-old fighter, 32-year-old fighter. He's older. And as we age as humans, one can argue that while the body may be deteriorating a little bit, our mind becomes sharper. And Triple G is still sharp. I would argue that Triple G has actually been more patient as he's gotten older and more of a precise puncher than he was in his prime. A younger Triple G is knocking people out. He's got the punching power. He's got the dominance. He's got the size. He has all the intangibles. But perhaps now at 40, he has a little bit more time in being able to pick his spots and his shot selection and not rushing for the knockout, but more setting it up a little better. 40-year-old Triple G is still better than half the boxers in that division. His only loss, as I said, comes from Canelo Alvarez, a draw with Canelo Alvarez. And now he's about to face him again for the third time to settle for all of the score, all of the bragging rights. And many believe that Triple G has beaten Canelo twice before. I'm not saying he did. I'm just telling you what I hear and what you already know if you're watching this video. It's the same fight, but the storyline is different. Canelo was once seemed untouchable to many people, regardless of who he was in the ring with. You can only fight who you're in the ring with, and he knocked everybody out, and he raised to another weight division and fought Dimitri Bivol and met his match. Canelo was coming off a loss against a bigger fighter. He's going back down to a weight where he is undisputed and feels more comfortable in at 168. Triple G is coming in after a win where he did have moments where we thought he was in trouble, but he pulled it together and won the fight. No matter the environment in sport, in life, a loss is a loss. And every time you lose, it takes a little bit out of you. I'm wondering where Canelo feels like he is. Canelo has probably, 6 or 7 more years left in him, whereas Triple G maybe has about 3 or 4. At that, maybe more, maybe less. We don't know what the situation may be at hand. They are both in different timelines in their career. And in my opinion, it makes even more sense now at this stage in their life, in their career, because with the Canelo loss, it changes things. And I think in this fight, it's more of a mental test for Canelo. I think he needs the caliber of fighter that will continue to test him, not really from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. Canelo has a strong chin, and he can take a lot of shots. As someone who was the cash cow, so to speak, someone who was the face of boxing to many people, at this moment, his confidence was high. He still thought he won that fight when he fought Dimitri Bivol. But Bivol deflated him, not physically, but mentally. I think it took a little bit out of him. He didn't think someone could do that to him. That's the elite level of high performance athlete, is you always have to believe that no one can beat you, no matter where you are, no matter what division you are, no matter if you're on the track, the football field, the boxing ring, the octagon. You have to believe that no one can beat you, regardless of what your record says. And he took that same mentality and he moved up to a bigger weight class to fight a big fish in a big pond. So I respect the fact that he felt big enough and believed enough in himself, as we all should, to go up there, even though it didn't turn out the way that he expected it to. Triple G isn't just here to put up a fight, but he's going to push Canelo each round and test his mindset and his will and his mind frame. It's a trilogy, and sometimes trilogies don't live up to the hype, but I believe that this will. Perhaps this fight, though, just perhaps this fight, though, is a catch-22. And I think Canelo, this is more of a mental war than a physical one. For Triple G, I think it's the other way around. I think it's the battle of, can the body do what the mind wants it to do? And I guess that's something that we'll find out later in the year. But at this time, both of these fighters need each other because they are in different stages of their career. But perhaps the storyline makes sense because of what has happened in the past 6 months.